security agency, the police, the civil defense, and the military at the background. Um, they are heavily deployed to be able to attend to any security threat. And I believe the people will comport themselves. We are peaceful people in Ondo State. Ondo State has been adjudged to be one of the most safest and peaceful states in Nigeria. And we'll be having our elections in a peaceful environment, and this very one will not be different. Uh, the citizens, they are law abiding, haven't been at the saddle for the past 10 months. The state has been very, very peaceful. And they know what they want and who they want. So I believe the election will be very, very peaceful, credible. I went through the whole process of accreditation before casting my vote. And I believe the INEC officials will do the same at every level.
Thank you, everyone, for staying with us here on this special coverage of Ondo State's governorship election, where the polls are already underway and the good people of Ondo State are churning out. Some people say in their numbers to cast their votes, but news has been trickling in about how the development is unfolding, and of course what the turnout has been like so far. This is just about 12:30 p.m. West African time, and it's been a couple of hours since voting started. First off, we saw the Incumbent governor voting this morning. We've also seen visuals of other citizens who have been voting the entire day. We understand this will run till about 3 p.m. Depending on how the circumstances pan out. Of course, the latitude or the path to extend the election in terms of the voting itself, the rest totally with INEC, but we understand voting is already ongoing, and I would like to talk about some of the developments so far, their implications, and what could happen going forward on the strength of what we have observed at this point. So we're joined live from Akure, that is the capital city of Ondo State, where this governorship election is happening today, the 16th of November 2024, by an election observer Adaramola Emmanuel. He is the executive director of Emmanuel World Children Foundation, doubles as the coordinator of Smarter Projects in this election, and the state coordinator of Transition Monitoring Group, TMG. Emmanuel, I'd like to say thank you to you, first of all, that you could be generous enough to make out time, in spite of your busy schedule today, to join us on Global Television. My first question to you would be what your observation has been as somebody who has experience under his belt monitoring elections, right? What has been your observation regarding this particular election, especially, for example, if you also followed that those months ago? Thank you for staying with us. We understand we have been able to reconnect with our guest who is joining us live on the ground from Akure, Ondo State capital, to help us find sense in what the development has been today. Emmanuel, thank you first off for making our time to join us on this discussion.
Thank you very much. Interest here.
You followed the governorship election in Edo State, the one for 21st of September, just less than 2 months ago. When you just opposed that against what you have observed so far in Ondo State, particularly in Akure, where you are basically monitoring from, what would you say are the elements that distinguish between these two exercises?
I think generally, all those states, before now is peaceful. During the election process of campaign and the likes, it has been peaceful. And so today is also peaceful compared to some of the incidences recorded in Edo. Secondly, is looking at the technical aspect and the logistics from INEC. I think there have been a massive improvement compared to some past elections. The materials actually were deployed early. Most polling units from the report I've gotten actually opened up before 8 o'clock. So that's a very good one. And in terms of security, though there is a massive deployment of security personnel almost everywhere I got to, they've been everywhere. And so I think in terms of security as well, the election is also a very good one. Generally, observers on field, generally it is peaceful, it is okay. Unfortunately, what made the election, from my own point of view, is the vote buying issue. And it is not only limited to one particular political party, it cut across some political parties, especially the big political parties.
You and I will talk about vote buying in detail in a minute, but while we put that on hold, let's talk about INEC. INEC had said that, in passing, the commission had admitted not being able to have done as much under the circumstances associated with the election in Edo State as the public had expected it to have done. And INEC says they were going to use that as a basis to improve on their performance regarding this election in Ondo State. Some people say, well, it's probably too early to reach a decision or draw a conclusion. But would you say, from what you have observed, what you have received from your people on the ground, that INEC has been able to, so far, match words with action?
Honestly, I think the present REC, the President Electoral Commission officer and our team have actually done better. They've actually matched their words, because almost every polling unit, in fact, there are some polling units as far as the River Rhine that have gotten reports this morning that the officers are already there, security officers, they are already there. As of 8 o'clock this morning, many of the polling units have actually opened. And so I think INEC actually improved on Edo, learning from Edo experience, especially the issue of logistics of moving, using the NURT, road transport workers and others to move the equipment and the materials and the staff personnel for the election. I think they've actually done better this time around.
By some reports, we're hearing that 1.7 million people will be voting in this election. These posted at 2 million. But whatever the figure may be, let's talk about turnout, because voting and election are about numbers. How would you rate the turnout so far?
In many today now, I've visited close to about I've seen close to about 20 something polling units personally, and I have seen that the turnout is encouraging in some places. But I also have gotten reports from some of the people on the field. For instance, when you look at Ijapo, there's a polling unit that, as I'm talking with you, only 4 people have actually come to vote in that particular polling unit. Only 4 have actually come to vote in that particular polling unit. So, but generally speaking, from the Southern Senatorial District, the Northern Senatorial District, and the Central Senatorial District, it's been good. People have turned out. In fact, I got a report also from a particular local government, a federal local government, that people are very, very happy, enthusiastic that they can come out in large number to vote. The same thing happened in Okitipupa local government. In SL, the local government, the same report we got also. In Akoko Northeast, also the same report also we got. So looking around, I think there should be a better result in terms of turnout of people when compared to the past election. Though, because of different experiences of people who actually don't trust much in the system, they have been put up voters' apathy in the past, where you have just only 24% of registered voters voting. But hopefully, we think things will be much more better this time around than 24%.
And now let's get to the subjects of vote buying, or what some people call financial inducement. Some newspapers are reporting that some DSS operatives on the ground have arrested some political party agents. Global Television, as of this at this time, has not independently verified these news stories, but we are hearing that unconfirmed stories are saying operatives of the Department of State Services have arrested some persons who are believed to be agents of political parties with cash in their hands. Well, who knows? Perhaps to bribe voters. Yesterday, we got news that some parties are paying as much as 20 for a vote. And interestingly, we also are hearing that this started weeks before today's election. I mean, let's talk about the implication of this, particularly for this election that is in front of us.
You see, sometimes ago, our organization came up with this concern. That's about 3-4 weeks ago. Because the way the campaign was running that time, it was actually behind expectation. Where the way we were expecting the political party to be up and doing in terms of election campaigning, presentation of their manifestos, and getting to communities, it wasn't really very pushy. And then from discussion with people, they were saying, don't worry, they were actually conserving their money to use during election. That was what a lot of people outside were saying, that's why they are not investing so much into campaign. And this actually, with our experience today, is the issue of vote buying, paying people. But the way they are doing it is even, worrisome, because for you even to get to know that there is vote buying, you have to be there, you have to watch, you have to observe, and before you can actually get through. And even people finding out who is actually paying more before they go to vote. This is very sad. And like a friend of mine, they are actually under a spell, seeing old people who have actually suffered the effect of bad governance over and over, and now coming again to collect some money to vote and to choose. It's actually very sad. So the implication is much, because once you have collected money, then you are shut up.
You know, this conversation about vote buying has been here for a while. Recall that there was a time the song, or the slogan was one man, one vote. Then, of course, besides that, we were also singing the song of, no vote buying and what have you. But today, it will appear it's a phenomenon that accompanies every election cycle, whether it's the general election or the off-grid election. And, of course, it's no brainer that this is a very, as it were, negative elements in our electoral process in this country. But let's talk about how we can deal with this. There are people who say it is beyond the purview or mandate of the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, to fix this situation. Others say we need to turn to security agencies to help deal with it. In the meantime, in the last few years, for example, we have seen ICPC and the EFCC deploy their men to polling units to help curtail this kind of situation. Are we winning this fight?
Honestly speaking, I don't think we are winning this fight, because it has always been in one way. Most of the campaign against don't collect money and the likes. In this side, it is usually said in Yoruba, Dibo, Ko Sibe. That is what it's usually the thing here. Now, many of the time our campaign is actually targeting those people that receives, whereas the campaign is not actually targeting those people that gives. Secondly is this, in the previous election, how many people have actually been prosecuted? Openly, and we know that they are prosecuted to serve as deterrents to other people. So most of the focus, we are saying don't collect. But what actually happens to those people that give? These are big guns. These are people that run the system. These are people that make the policies. These are people that implement the policies. And so they believe that they are above what? Like the people that the news reported, and the man that the news reported that has been arrested today, what will happen next? We won't know. That is the reality on ground in the past. Observers have reported to the law enforcement agents they were arrested, but nothing actually came out of it because somebody will just use phone call to make it. So for us to change, for things to get better, for us to win this war against vote buying, we have to make it two-pronged. And you know, when we target those people that are giving and we put the positive effect on them, it will cater for that in one way. And then when it comes to those people that actually receive it, somebody told me this morning that, look, if I am not eating since yesterday because of the economic issue, and you are telling me not to collect money, the person told me straight away, said, I will collect it because I am hungry. So in that aspect, I think one of the key things we need to do is to ensure that the economic situation of the country improves. It will be difficult for somebody to give 10,000 naira if I'm handing 100,000 naira and I have food to eat and I'm okay. Your 10,000 naira will not make any meaning to me. But where I don't even have 1,000 naira to feed my family and I have a free 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira coming, it will be difficult for me to overcome such temptation. So we need to make it two-pronged. Look at those people that are giving, and we also look at those people that are receiving. With that, then we can say we'll be winning the war. But once we are only talking about those people that are receiving, honestly speaking, and it's getting worse. I remember a few years ago, it is only 500 naira. It graduated later to 1,000 naira. And then we have seen election now where they have given out up to 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira. Now we are hearing 25,000 naira. So you can't be talking that in the next election now, general election now, we'll be talking about 50,000 naira. And that is even having an effect on our economy. That's even having an effect on so many other things. So I think winning the war, sincerely, we are not winning that war for now.
All right. Lastly, before we let you off, Emmanuel, let's talk about security. Prior to this day's election, we had heard the army, the police, the civil defense say, look, we have deployed XYZ numbers of our men to Ondo State as part of efforts to beef up security and so on and so forth. Some people say one of the beautiful outcomes of the election in Edo State last September is the fact that violence was minimal, incidences were very minimal, and so on and so forth. And the records show that at least there was no life lost in the case of Edo. When you look at what you have observed so far in Ondo State, would you say it is reflective of these investments and deployment of men by security agencies the last few days?
Yeah, I think the security agents, I think I can give it to them. I've been to several places. I've been to about 3 towns this morning, and I've witnessed the presence of the security agents on the road within short distances to each other. And a few days ago, up to yesterday evening, I've been seeing the influx of many security men from different agencies, including DSS, civil defense, police, mobile policemen, coming into Ondo. In fact, jokingly, somebody told me in the car and said, are we going to war? Because of the number of security men that we have seen being deployed and brought into Ondo State for this. So, but I think because of our own way of life, it is we have somehow militarized our election. I was saying, look, I pray that a time will come that in Nigeria you can vote just as you go to any ATM machine to collect money. And that is what I think we should be working towards, because so when such people see many police again, that's another area to the security. When people see that some people might decide not to come out, they are seeing it everywhere, guns are carried, law enforcement agencies everywhere. So that may also even increase the voters' apathy in some area. But generally, I think the security men are actually on top of their game. And as of now, almost 1 p.m. today, we have not recorded any incidences of violence, or both snatching, attacking, or whatever in any. So far, so good. We have not gotten any reports from some of our colleagues that are on the field. So I think the security agencies have actually improved their games.
Emmanuel Daramola, we would like to say a big thank you to you for these very valuable updates that you have shared with us. We hope to stay in touch with you as this electoral process unfolds today and into tomorrow. Once again, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's where we'll leave it with this discussion. We'll continue to talk to our correspondents and, of course, electoral observers and political analysts who are right on the ground in Ondo State to bring you a full picture of how this election is going. In the meantime, we're taking a break and our live broadcast will continue after this time out with John Gadamel Joseph to bring you a bit of entertainment circle. All work and no play, they say, makes Jack a dull boy.